They thought that I was a dum-diddy-dum-dum-dum-dum-dum. And now, 30 years later, they still think I'm a dum-diddy-dum-dum-dum-dum-dum, unless... Before we begin, let's thank our great sponsors. And if you want information on how to become one, you can go to jasonbailey.com. Much love to Inspect All Pest Services, because bugs, termites, and critters, they don't belong in your house. Inspect All handles pest control, termite protection, and wildlife removal. Here's the number one reason to use them. One company that does it right the first time. Bonus, they also take care of insulation, pressure washing, and gutter maintenance all across Atlanta. Less calls, less stress, better results. InspectAllServices.com. If life makes you Google lawyer, call the Aurora Law Firm, led by the Mad Dog, Manny Aurora. This Georgia-based team handles criminal defense, white-collar cases, DUI, expungements, and more. Nationwide. Number one reason to call the Mad Dog, they know the system and how to beat it. The Aurora Law Firm, because oops needs backup. TheAuroraLawFirm.com. Life gets heavy. Stress, work, relationships, all of it. That's where Ridgeline Counseling can help. Led by Dr. David Markwell and a team of 10 therapists, Ridgeline offers in-person sessions at 3 of his Georgia locations: East Cobb, Marietta, and McKaysville, or virtual visits wherever you're at and most comfortable with. Number one reason to choose Ridgeline, you don't have to do it alone. Ridgeline Counseling. Real help when you need it. MarkwellTherapy.com. Power goes out, not at your house, if you call Alternate Power Solutions. They're a family-owned Generac generator dealer, founded in 2012, handling sales, installation, service, and repair for home standby and portable generators across Georgia and Tennessee. Here's the number one reason to use them. You don't pay a dime until the job is done and you're 100% happy. Every customer gets an upgraded warranty, free monitoring with a service contract, flexible financing, and they actually keep generators and parts in stock, plus an A+ rating with the BBB. All you have to do is call 770-853-7571 or visit poweringgeorgia.com for a free home assessment. Use the discount code Bailey for $500 off your entire installation. Alternate Power Solutions, because losing power shouldn't mean losing your mind. Tired of struggling to get in and out of the tub? Meet MVP Walk-In Tub and Shower of Atlanta. Beautiful, safe, and affordable bathing solutions that actually make your bathroom work for you. This family-owned local company focuses on installations that elevate comfort and accessibility. No high-pressure sales, no commission-only reps, just honest, hassle-free service across Metro Atlanta. Here's the number one reason to call MVP. They make bathing safe, easy, and enjoyable. Schedule your no-hassle appointment, 404-493-6888, or you can go online to nvpwalkins.com. Don't forget to mention the BPX, the Bailey Podcast Exchange, for $2,000 off MVP Walk-In Tub and Shower, because your bathroom should feel like a retreat, not a workout. Looking for the ultimate wellness boost? Meet Alive Ozone Therapy Spa, Central Florida's first and only ozone therapy spa. From ozone therapy to red light therapy, halo therapy, presso therapy, PEMF grounding mats, and even in-house ozone-infused products, Alive Ozone Therapy Spa's got everything to help you feel amazing, inside and out. Repair, rejuvenate, and restore your body. Here's the number one reason to try Alive Ozone Therapy Spa, because they combine cutting-edge therapies with natural holistic care. Go online to AliveOzoneTherapySpa.com. Use the discount code BS10 for 10% off your services and products. Alive Ozone Therapy Spa, because feeling your best shouldn't be optional. Thanks to all of our sponsors. And with that being said, let's begin the show.
Hey, good looking. It's the Bailey Show podcast. JasonBailey.com. It's a website.
Yeah, there it is. Episode 461 of the Bailey Show podcast. It is a guy show women love to listen to with a side of laughs. It's on the BPX. That is the Bailey Podcast Exchange. We're talking 3 different shows, 5 days a week, one feed, boom, in your face. This is a free Bay episode, so this one's also on the YouTube channel, which is getting some attention lately. If you missed out on the sub-episode yesterday, we explained what happened last week on the Vinyl Road podcast and why all ears and eyes are on the BPX right now. There lots of attention there. But everybody, all these blabbermouths and all these publications, they send them all to the YouTube channel. Again, that's fine, but I'd much rather if you send them to the Spotify. to be quite honest with you. But that's just me talking out loud. But that's fine. You can do the YouTube. That's fine. That's fine. That's fine. That's fine.
We got to monetize YouTube.
Oh, I do. And I am. I don't know. It's just, I want people see, like on YouTube, you don't realize unless you read like in the description that there are 2 other episodes during the week of the BS that are for subscribers. That's the challenge that I always have is how do I get more subscribers?
You say it on the YouTube thing.
I do, but do you really listen?
If they're not really listening, they're not really watching.
But if you go to Spotify, you actually see the sub episodes. You just can't watch them. So you might see that in the description and go, oh, you know what? That seems really interesting. I enjoyed this episode. I want to give this a shot. And when you go to play it, it then takes you to the subscription page. So that's helpful to me on the greater good, especially for you, freebayers right now. I want you to subscribe because that's what makes everything work. And, if I don't get enough subscribers, I'm shutting the whole damn thing down. It's just that simple. So jasonbailey.com. But a lot of eyes and ears on the Vinyl Road podcast, which are released on Friday. If you didn't know and you missed out on the sub episode yesterday, there was something that was said. We had Barry Kirchhoff from Shinedown joining myself and Brad. Of course, Brad, formerly of Shinedown. There was supposed to be a healing episode of progress and love and joy. And as a fan, hearing old school stories from back in the day. And instead, all these other publications picked up the one thing that Barry had said when I asked him about being a part of the Rock the Country concert of Kid Rock's. He says, we're apolitical. I don't care. Even though the knives are out from the fans that hate it, doesn't bother me. And Ludacris dropping off is a coward. Paraphrasing. And that's all they picked up on. So now everybody's watching it, which again, publicity.
Right, and now they'll see the fun stuff.
Yeah, I know. I feel bad because Barry's not a bad guy. And that's all they picked up. And I know if it bleeds, it leads, but I don't know. I explain it all in the sub episode. You can go and sub and listen to the whole explanation from
one of your favorite words is conflict.
It is.
However, you're taking this one a little bit more personally than you normally do.
I am.
And that's actually nice. It's really sweet of you to be protective of your voice.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
But yeah, conflict. That's all they're going for.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah, that made me feel better. Thank you.
There you go. I'm there for you.
Thanks for being here. My name's Jason Bailey. There's the Bald Badger, Benjamin.
AKA Dr. Badger.
Dr. Badger. Paying Dr. Badger Bomb. Dr. Rosenbaum. Rosen, but Dr. Badger Rosen.
I'm a shepherd.
The Bald Badger, by the way, if you go to jasonbailey.com with Valentine's Day coming up, he did some cool new Valentine's Day lovey logos for the new shows. Boom. Look at the a podcast with Sugar, Honey, I Raised the Kids. And then you have rock candy. That's tough. Look at that.
Yeah, I got to score these.
And then this podcast is sweet, the BS.
That might be my favorite. I love the green.
Yeah, they come in a variety of colors, and I would highly suggest you upgrade to the premium T-shirts if that's the route you go. Also offering hoodies, hats, sweatshirts, zip-ups, mugs, cell phone pillows, tapestries, I believe.
Cell phone cases. I haven't seen those.
Yeah, cell phone cases, bags, all kinds of good stuff. So jasonbailey.com. I don't know if there's a sale going on right now. I know there was one the other day. Occasionally go up. Probably something going on. Take advantage of it. Get it. And when you get it, post it to our social media. So I can see that you actually are supporting, man.
Looks like you supported something too there, Bailey.
Yeah, we're going to try to get through this episode without a heart condition from the Bald Badger, Benjamin.
See what happens.
Before we hit the record button, Benjamin's a little fluttery. So it was irony that I showed you the heart logos for Valentine's Day when my man has got a fluttery heart.
They made me feel better.
Yeah. What's going on? You okay?
Yeah, I'm okay. I got a bad ticker, and every now and then it says something's up. Pay attention. So I got to pay attention.
You might need a hand job.
That's probably it. Where are you at in my time of need, Bailey?
If I were a doctor, that's all I'd prescribe.
That's it.
Can you imagine
He died, but he smiled the whole time.
a cock in the box, instead of dock in the box?
I think that's a different remedy altogether.
Can you imagine if you were like opened up a clinic and you just had a room full of women that gave HJs, and somebody'd come in and say, "Doc, man, my heart's fluttery. I don't know what's going on. I'm going to prescribe you an HJ. Go to room 2, please."
But room 3 was so tender.
And for some reason you get away with it because it's like you're able to convince the county that it's medical. You're getting a release, and you find some case study that says a release is good for whatever.
I mean, I feel like there's got to be some loophole. No, it's medical. It's okay.
Well, not only loophole, but probably some truth to that, to be honest with you.
Truth hole, glory hole.
You come in and be like, "Man, I've been angry." Room 3, HJ, that'll solve it. Seriously, you're done. You get a release. You're like, "I feel like $1 million."
Did you ever try to donate sperm?
No, I was never a sperm guy.
Okay.
That sounds weird.
It sounded kind of strange. Yeah.
Yeah.
I was thinking about was that movie Road Trip?
Mm-hmm.
Where Stifler got a little help in the back door to get the sperm going.
Yeah.
It's medicinal, so it was okay, right?
Yeah. Have you ever done it?
The sperm bank, not that way.
Yeah.
I tried. I thought I was going to get rich. I'm like, I got plenty of this stuff.
There's not much money in it.
Not really. Yeah.
The money's in the
felt
eggs.
dirty. It felt dirty.
Yeah. The money's in the eggs. So the chicks get.
I don't have those.
Yeah, you don't have those. But I never did it. I was never in destitute for money, but I never did it because I didn't want there to be a baby Bailey running around and me not knowing who it is.
It's interesting you say that, because I just watched an episode of The Blacklist.
Oh, yeah. I know which one you're talking about.
Yeah. His legacy is intact.
Yeah. There's actually a real story of a guy. Where did I watch this? It was a standalone show, like a doc on Netflix or something. But there was a guy overseas that was able to work the system because they don't allow you to donate after a certain amount of times. But he had children, like hundreds of kids, like all over, and they were able to map them out. Because the problem is that if your sperm is making these kids, even with these other women,
eventually,
right, and they're in this proximity, and they find each other and they get together and they have sex. I mean, the kid could come out mentally retarded or whatever. And this guy worked the system, and it wasn't just, it wasn't in the United States. It was somewhere overseas, but then he like expanded to another country. And then as these women are like doing their own investigative reporting, they're finding all this stuff out, and they show this map of all the places that he's donated sperm. And it was like, I mean, all over there's a Law and Order episode that's very similar. It's probably based off of that story. And it's got John Stamos.
Uncle Jesse was a sperm donor.
Yeah. But he was like, yeah, but he wasn't a sperm donor. He was having sex. He was impregnating all these women on purpose because he wanted a bunch of children. And he was like loaded, and he was paying these women. Like afterwards, he was giving them money to raise these kids, but it's illegal because he was lying to them. Like he was faking. Like he was like, "Yeah, I'm wearing." So it was a tricky dick kind of thing. But literally, there's people out there like that. So anyway, I want to bring this up because we should be having a guest on here shortly, if all goes well. Just quickly have him on because he's got a good story and ties in with a guest we've had on this show. Anyway, I reconnected with an old friend of mine just this past week, the Orlando Magic fat guy. So for those in Central Florida that go back to the beginning of the Orlando Magic, what was the inception of the Magic? 89? I think 89.
That sounds accurate. Yeah. Maybe 90, but yeah, right in there.
Okay. So in Orlando, back in those days, and I didn't move to Orlando till 95, but even in 95, the Magic were a thing, right? Especially when we had Shaq and we had Penny and 3D and Dennis Scott. And it was like
Scott Skiles,
Tree
Rollins.
Tree Rollins, right? It was a thing, right? It was cool. You know, they went to the playoffs, played the Bulls and Jordan, and they lost, but so it was cool. The very beginning of the Magic, as they were trying to get an ID and identification, there was a fan that stood out. And, you know, when they would be on national television, they would always show this short, wide man getting the fans all rowdy and crazy. And he'd always wear these like sparkly jackets. He had like straggly hair, shoulder length hair. He looked like the Penguin from Batman for the most part. And they called him
Ron Jeremy. He was just a fan.
They called him the Orlando Magic Fat Guy. They called him the Fat Guy. You familiar with the Fat Guy?
I remember the Fat Guy.
Okay,
Yeah,
so
I remember the Fat Guy.
Who the Fat Guy really is?
He would hang out with Stuff.
Right. He was like, every team has got like their fan mascot. He was the Orlando Magic's fan mascot forever. Who he really was a very successful defense attorney, Dennis Salvaggio. And when I got into Radio 95 with a morning show on this top 40 station, every Friday, Fat Guy Fridays, they would have the Fat Guy in there. It was more or less because he was a local celebrity, right? And he would contribute on the air. He had a great laugh. It was a very infectious laugh. And it was what it was. You know, I'm an intern these days, and I'm just like, Fat Guy's coming in on Friday. It's cool, whatever. But, and he was always very sweet and very, very nice. His wife was very nice. He's got a couple of kids. He adopted a kid from Africa. He traveled the world. Great guy. Just a good dude. Anyway, over the years, when I left the show and the station, I don't know what happened, because they didn't have him on anymore. I don't know what happened there. And then I went off to do my own thing. And then, when I moved to Atlanta in 2013, I really fell out of touch with a lot of people in Orlando, which is a regret that I have to this day. He was one of them. So I had recently done an interview with my friend Amy Sweezy for her podcast called about reinvention. And she was on with us as well. And she's a former meteorologist in Central Florida. She's a wonderful person, extremely talented person. And she had me on her show. And the way that she does her podcast is a lot different than the way we do ours. She is really a professional. I mean,
is she regimented?
She shoots it like a TV show. I mean, like, for her guests, she'll send out a Q&A, kind of a pre-screen. Mm-hmm. She's got a hardcore editor, like TV editor, a guy that really knows it, a guy that's not using CapCut. I can tell you that. And she releases hers, like, I think once a week periodically. So unlike us that do 5 shows a week, she, I think, does 1 a week maybe. And it might take months before it's released, because I did this interview with her a gazillion years ago. And so she reaches out to me and says, "Hey, do you have some pictures that I can use for whatever?" So sure. What do you need? Now, I've never been good at quickly finding pictures. I don't know how these other radio people do this, but somebody will die. Whomever, celebrity will die. Within seconds, they have a picture of them with dead celebrity on their social media. I have no idea how they do it. I do not have those pictures in my phone. It's crazy. And then she was asking me for just all these different random pictures, but part of those were pictures from back in those days, the XL days, the top 40 station. I have them hard copy, because the only digital pictures I had from back then were taken on that brick of a Sony camera that had a 3.5-inch floppy that you would put in. Do you remember that camera? Like,
no.
It's one of the first digital cameras that came out. I mean, it was pretty big. It was like a rose goldish type of silver color. And there was a disc that you would put in.
Sounds fancy.
Oh, dude, it was the hips nips. And you'd put a disc in, and then you take the picture, and then you take the disc out, and you put it in your computer, and you deal with what
a disc.
I don't know where my pictures are. So I reached out to some people from back in the day. Dennis being one of them. And we never even got to the pictures. We just started talking, and he's older and in a way, health wise. So it's like, he was like, I want to do lunch with you. I said, I'd love to do lunch with you. Let's reconnect. Let's get together. And I said, well, how about we do this? Why don't you come over to a live ozone therapy spa? Let me introduce you to some of these therapies, because what you have going on, I can help you. And then let's do lunch afterwards. How about that? He says, that's great. That's amazing. And he lives kind of about an hour out. So he comes over, put him through the treatments and the therapies and stuff. Absolutely loves it. And then, we go to the lunch and have that and move on. Anyway, the reason I'm telling you the story is I haven't talked to Den 20 years, give or take, right? I mean, when I left that radio station in 2001, I was kind of out of sight, out of mind, because I'm doing my own thing and focusing on that stuff. He remembers me, and I started radio when I was, I guess, 21 years old. He remembers me as that guy, as buckethead as a 2-year-old. Very naive, very arrogant, very headstrong, very aggressive, nice, willing to do anything for you, but all those other things. He doesn't know me as Jason Bailey, the 50-year-old that's had a career, had success in his career, starting a new life, has a wife that he loves immensely, has 2 kids that he loves more than the world, and a family, and has gone through ups and downs over the last couple decades, just like anybody else. He doesn't know that version of me. And it was really interesting because he's the first person since I've been back in Orlando to actually say it to my face. He goes something to the extent of, wow, Bucket, I didn't think this is who you'd turn out to be, or something like that. And I knew that this was kind of coming, and this kind of all wraps all back around with me coming back to Central Florida and not being able to connect with some people, reconnect with some people. When I came back, I reached out to a lot of people. I also had in my mind, for whatever reason, that it would be kind of like almost I didn't leave, and leave the market. I didn't think I was that naive. I mean, my tells have been way off the last couple of years, starting with California. And when I got back, I was shunned, like literally shunned by people that I used to work with. And I still to this day, can't figure it out. I don't understand why. I've been told by people like former sponsors that are friends with the station, other people in the business, they've alluded to different things, but nobody's said it to my face. Some people that, are in the business, they have a perception of me from over 20 years ago that they can't get out of their minds. And I find that
first impressions die hard.
Right. But I find that sad, like for them, because I have an impression of them from 20 years ago as well that might not be great, but 20 years plus has passed. I'm not holding that against you. Right. I mean, I if I haven't seen somebody in 20 years and I'm put in a position that I'm in front of them, right, I'm not going to have a wall up. I might have my defenses on standby, but I'm not going to have a wall up and automatically think that you're the same person that you were 20, 30 years ago. I mean, God, yeah, almost 30 years ago. I think it's pretty ignorant for people to do that, to be quite honest with you. Extremely ignorant to do that. And I bring this up because I know that's part of the problem that I've had with people in my life, that's especially from the Orlando days, pre-Atlanta. Because when I talk to them about Alive, people that are like, that know me as Buckethead, that had been in the industry with me, or I'd been in the industry with them, it's deer in headlights. They don't believe me. They think I don't know what they think.
Fugazi.
Yeah, I think so. Placebo. They don't understand what I'm doing. They don't understand my life. And that's fine, but give yourself make yourself seem intelligent to an extent of trying to understand. You know what I mean? Because like, if I were to do that with every person that I've known from my past, like even people that I had a falling out with, if I hadn't seen them in years, I would know, I would remember, I'm not going to forget, but I'm not going to judge them today how they were 10 years ago. I just wouldn't do it. 20 years ago, 25 years ago. That's just stupid on my part, right? That's absolutely stupid. But then it's funny how some people get a pass depending on your status and what you're doing. There's some people that I've seen get hired with upper management in the industry, radio industry, that had a bad reputation 20 years ago. And the way that people talk about them today is like, oh, I remember then, man. Yeah, you were a dick. I didn't like you. Yeah, I was kind of a dick back then. Yeah. And it's all forgiven. It's all good. So some people get the pass and some people don't get the pass. I don't understand it. But do yourself a favor. Don't, kind of make yourself believe that's the thing if you don't give it a chance. You know what I mean?
Is there any chance that you left a worse impression than you thought you did, and that's why they're not letting it go?
Oh, I'm sure.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure. I mean, I must have done something, but I mean, I didn't do something so badly that's like would I don't know, would make me get this kickback. I don't think. But when Dennis and I sat down and talked, it was nice to hear him actually, because Dennis is the guy. Dennis is smart, right? Dennis wouldn't act like that. He's going to look at you the way you are today, and I think everybody's got something from 20 or 30 years ago that was different from. I don't like when people say that I've changed. I hate that, because I don't think you change. You're still the same person, like the same characteristics and stuff like this.
You evolve,
you tweak, you adapt, even
mature, hopefully
mature. Right. But you don't necessarily change. Like I don't like, because I don't want to change. I like who I am. I like who I was 30 years ago. I wasn't a bad person by no stretch of the imagination. I've saved people's lives before. I've done a lot of good stuff in my life. So don't tell me that I was a horrible person or I needed to change. I might have needed to change to fit you and what you want, but who the hell are you? And how did you get so high up there on your horse? Like what makes you the say all be all of how people should be, hear, and act? I mean, that's just crazy.
Well, no, in their life, their opinion matters.
Right.
Just like in your life, your opinion matters. It might not be right according to somebody else's measurement, but for your life, that might be the only opinion that you care about.
I guess. I think it's a little short-sighted, to be honest with you.
Absolutely could be.
Yeah. I know.
But again, in how it fits into their narrative, that's what they need it to be.
So Den and I are sitting down and having lunch, and he just kind of, looks at me and we were talking about what he went through and what's going to happen and how he's going to feel and this and this and that. And he was impressed because I knew what I was talking about. I was like, well, this is my business. I mean, I understand these therapies. I mean, it saved my wife's life. It saved our relationship. I understand how these things work. This is why I'm in the business. It's not a franchise. This is my brainchild. This is our concept. This is what we do. It's almost for some people unbelievable to think that somebody could go from being a goofy radio personality into owning a med spa that helps people's lives get better and being knowledgeable about it. I just don't get it. I can't figure it out. It's driving me absolutely insane.
They didn't give you the credit for your intellect back then, that you had the capacity, because you weren't showing it to them back then.
That's it, dude. I'm telling you, you're right. You nailed it. That's the thing. So now I know back then they thought I was a dum-dum.
Yeah.
They thought that I was a dum-diddy-dum-dum-dum-dum-dum. And now 30 years later, they still think I'm a dumb unless they got some brains about them and they're willing to say, oh man, wow, you've evolved a lot over 3 decades. Good for you, man. You know what? You're not that buckethead guy that was on the radio playing a character in real life 30 years.
Yeah, that nickname didn't help the intellectual capacity conversation.
I mean, like for radio people not to realize that you are to an extent a character when you're named Buckethead, I mean, and think that that's the gimmick that you live, you LTG it for 3 more decades, even though you don't go by the name. Like, dude, drink for being stupid. And I hope you don't get behind the wheel of a car. Like, that's just ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. It's, just silly, but Den saw the good in me, which was kind of cool.
That's awesome.
You know what I mean? You didn't know me then, so you can't have an opinion either way. But
I just knew the guy on the radio.
Well, yeah, you did. Well, did you really? Were you?
Yeah, listen.
Oh, you listen? Okay, yeah.
Sure. I mean, and honestly, I would assume just based on our conversations, we met at some point, but we weren't bros or anything. But I guarantee you, our paths crossed more than once.
Oh, I'm sure.
Without question.
Yeah. Absolutely. I'm sure. I don't think our guest is coming on, dude.
That's lame.
I think it's always the listener that stands you up for some reason. I don't understand why. Anyway, the story was, spoiler alert, because I guess he's not coming on. I'll just tell you, this is why I was going to have him on. This guy was a listener of my radio show in California when I was there, and he became a fan, which is cool. Much appreciated. So Get Fired California, you start doing this, blah, blah, blah. So he continues to listen to the podcast, and he tells this girl, Steph Rock's show, we've had on this show, about the podcast, and turns her on. She digs what we do, starts to become a fan. She's also a fellow podcaster. She's actually very good and does a very good show. So anyway, she's been on this show. I've been on her show. I was just on her show recently. And this is probably 2 weeks ago. I think I was on her show, and she goes, hey, I'm not going to tell you until you come on, but I got a really funny story to tell you. I'm thinking it's about some of the other people that we worked with that we weren't fans of, so on and so forth.
The midget lesbian.
Yeah. The Zika baby. And, and I did not see this coming at all. She goes, the guy that turned me on to your show, I slept with him and he impregnated me. So technically it's your fault that I'm getting ready to have my 4th kid.
But she sleeps with everybody.
Well, that was her. I think that's what
her gimmick.
Yeah, that was her gimmick, right? It said she just put out. I don't know. I don't know. So I wanted to hear the story. I wanted to know the insides and outs. So I was talking to the guy. I was like, hey, can you come on? I gave him the information, and I don't know what happened, but blah, 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 blah. But anyway, we'll move past it. But that was I just thought that was kind of 6 degrees of the Bailey Show podcast. And
yeah, getting folks pregnant.
A child will come from this, which will be kind of cool.
And the child shall be named Buckethead.
I shall, woman, swaddle that child now. We shall name this child Buckethead.
West Coast Bucket.
Yeah, West
Nice.
Coast. Hold on.
That's too bad. So, like, when you went on the show, that's when she revealed that she was pregnant with. Wasn't she dating this guy when she came on this show?
I have no idea. That's what I wanted to ask the guy.
I thought they were dating. Yeah. I remember she said something about that. Come on, you remember everything. When she came on the show, she said that the guy that turned her on to the show, she had been seeing for like a couple of weeks.
A couple of weeks. That's not dating. That's hanging out. I mean, like dating somebody's months.
But I think she did refer to him as boyfriend.
Did you? I don't remember that. Yeah.
Oh,
yeah,
you forgot something. All right.
My mind is.
By the way, I stopped sweating. My heart has settled down now, so I think we're good.
Good. I don't know what I would do if something happened to. Now, look, granted,
that'd be good television.
It'd be great podcasting. I don't know what you call it in this world. It might bring a little bit of the negative attention off of the Vinyl Road podcast publicity that we're getting right now. If you, Bald Badger, decide to have a heart attack while we're doing this thing right now. So feel free.
I don't want to. They
Quit.
suck.
Just promise me you're going to come back if you have a heart attack.
I can't make those kind of promises.
Okay, well.
But I've come back before.
No, look at that. You're a bounce backer guy.
Yeah. I never technically died, though.
Well, look, I've got faith in you. Go ahead and have a heart attack. I think that you can bounce back. I don't know if Blabbermouth and Chris Jericho are going to pick it up like they picked up what happened on the Vinyl Road, but still, nonetheless, I think somebody might give this show some attention if you have a heart attack.
If I go out singing Judas, then Fozzie's all over it.
Right. You got to sing a song.
I'm going to come, I'm going to come, I'm going to come.
I have a heart attack, heart attack, heart attack. Oh,
yeah,
good
actually, television.
DDP just texted me. Did we talk about Change or Die on this episode or the one released yesterday? I think it was the one released yesterday. So I was going to have Diamond Dallas Page on this week.
Right.
And I was going to have him come on and talk about Unreal.
Did he say, hey, brother? Is that how he starts his text messages?
No, he didn't. Hey,
is that
brother.
Just like wrestler speak?
Yeah, he didn't. Hey, brother, me. But he's like, hey, I'll come on. But have you watched Change or Die? And I forgot. That's his show on Tubi. And it's kind of like a reality show, but it's not. They bring in, these people that need to change or die, like health reasons, mental, physical. Buff Bagwell's part of the group, Butterbean's part of the group, and then they just have normal dudes and chicks. This one kid is awesome. He makes the whole show. It's like 500 pounds. He's awesome. He's so likable. Great TV. And Dallas is producing all this with his boy Steve Yu. And he's doing it in his other house in Smyrna, Georgia, which he calls the Accountability Crib. And it's funny because I'm watching this and I'm like, yeah, I remember that first Christmas party that he invited me to back in the day. Right there on the island is where I got yelled at because I didn't realize that all the food at the Christmas parties have to be gluten-free. And Rach and I brought this cake with us and put it over there. And there's tons of people, like Jake the Snake Roberts is here, Scott Hall's here, like all these people. And this lady screams in the middle of the party, who brought this cake? It's not. And as soon as she goes, it's not gluten-free. Like the party stopped. It was like record scratch. And everybody's looking around. Who brought the cake? And
it was you.
I raised my hand and go, I'm sorry. Did I do something wrong? It's not gluten-free. They snatched it up from the bar and I don't know where they put it. They put a sign that says not gluten-free. I was like, I go, Dallas.
I mean, damn.
Yeah, it was a thing, man. But I'm like watching this Change or Die on Tubi, and right there on the bar in the kitchen, I'm going, that's where my non-gluten-free cake lives. And I go, and right over there is where Rach and Jake the Snake Roberts did the white elephant exchange and literally wrestled over these pajama pants, which is one of my all-time favorite pictures. It was such a cool moment. I'm like, this was like one of the first. Dallas is a big Christmas guy, so every Christmas he has these big parties.
Okay.
And this was the first one that I remember I was invited to. This is,
and nobody said gluten, nothing.
They did. I didn't hear it. I don't remember it. So in this house, he lives in a different house now, beautiful house, but this house, which is a beautiful house, he calls the Accountability Crib. So he does all the shooting and DDP yoga stuff in this house. So it's really good. I was like, hey, you want to come on? But I didn't ask him to talk about this. I said, will you come on and talk about Unreal, the WWE, show on Netflix?
What's that?
They just released the second season. So what they've done is they've pulled back the curtain. I mean, literally broken the fourth wall, which at one time in wrestling was taboo. But now you can't really fight the funk with the nasty dunk because you got the internet and you've got what they're called smarks, digital marks, that are big wrestling fans, but are always trying to get the spoilers and the inside scoop. And like back in the day, you didn't know who a wrestler was married to, or if they had kids, or what their background was. I mean, Nikita Koloff was from Russia and he hated America. The Iron Sheik, who lived his gimmick.
He's Iran, wasn't he?
He's from Tehran, Iran, right? And he hated America. And Freddie Blassie was their man. Like, you didn't know anything else about these guys. Hulk Hogan was a real American. Hulk Hogan said his prayers, ate his vitamins, and trained. We later found out that those vitamins came in the injectable form, but and through the nose. But nonetheless, that's what we believed because these were cartoon characters. We did not know their background. We did not have the internet. We didn't have the smarts, those types of things. So you can't fight it, right? So the internet's kind of ruined that. So you have to, I kind of see where they're coming from. The WWE, they're like, if you can't fight it, join it and then try to control it to an extent. So what they do with this show called Unreal is that they go behind the scenes, and they give the real story, like there was a match at one of the big pay-per-views and one of the girls, her performance was not good at all, right? She didn't think it was good. So they go backstage afterwards and she's crying and she's talking about it and so on and so forth. So it is a wrestling fan. Like, I think it's like, if you're trying to broaden that brand, which has always been known as this fake sport, which people don't realize that these performers are athletes to the highest extent.
It's a fake sport with real athletic ability.
Yeah, I don't like to use the word fake.
I understand, but
it's predetermined, right? It's predetermined, but it's
unreal, perhaps.
But there's a lot of improv, right, that goes along with it. I mean, some matches that were supposed to be called one, like it's amazing. Some of these matches, like you take Hulk Hogan, Andre the Giant, WrestleMania 3, arguably one of the most famous matches of all time, right? Andre the Giant didn't tell Hulk Hogan how the finish was going to be until they got into the ring. That's crazy. Like, you're the main event at the biggest wrestling show of the year, and you're not telling them until you get into the ring.
And it's not like he's easy to understand anyway.
Right. So
17 beers in.
Yeah. So that's, that's it kind of gives you that version of the story. And I just wanted Dallas to come on because, he's from a different generation of wrestling where you didn't, have that. Everything was pretty real. You tried to live the gimmick as much as possible. If you were a bad guy, you were a bad guy. If you're a good guy, you're a good guy. I'll never forget, I was at Bash of the Beach when Hulk Hogan turned heel in whatever year that was in Daytona Beach.
When he went to NWO?
He formed NWO. Yeah. So I want to say it was 96 ish, because I was at UCF and I was down the street from the University of Central Florida in Oviedo. There was a World's Gym in the shopping plaza where I'd go and work out. And Scott Hall would work out there. And Scott Hall was always like, he was one of my favorites, if not my favorite wrestler. I loved Scott Hall, Razor Ramon,
Is that why you went to that gym?
No, I went to the gym. I didn't know he worked out there. And then I would start to see him there, but I wouldn't bother him. Anyway, Mean Gene Okerlund, growing up in Sarasota, was my neighbor. Not that I talked to him often, but I was like, it'd be cool to get free tickets. I wasn't into the free tickets then. So I randomly reached out to him. I was like, hey, you remember me? I'm Joan's son, blah, blah, blah. Is there any way you get, what a dick, what a douchey. Somebody should have stopped me. But he was like, yeah, I get you free tickets. No problem. We'll leave them at will call. And so there's this little frame when you're watching that Bash of the Beach in the upper left-hand corner. If you pause it at the right time, you can see me in my Sigma Chi jersey. I wear my fraternity jersey.
Yes.
And we're in Mean Gene's section. So anyway, before that happened, I went up to Scott Hall. I got enough guts to go up to Scott Hall, and he's wearing these short little shorts and this loose tank top. And he was doing he did a lot of legs often. And he was doing leg press. He's got, plates filled out the whole thing. And I walk over between sets and I said, excuse me, Mr. Hall, I didn't want to, I'm sorry to interrupt you, but I got a question for you. And he's in character, yo, what can I do for you? And I was like, look, I'm going to Bash of the Beach. I'm friends with Mean Gene Okerlund, and he got me tickets. I got the name drop. And I was like, and I'm just curious on if you would tell me who the third member of NWO is. I'm 21 years old. I'm asking him this. And he's he kind of laughs and he goes, who do you think it is? He had a yellow tank top and blue shorts on. I'll never forget this. And I said, well, personally, I think it's could possibly be Yokozuna. Like we're having this conversation, like it's real.
Mm-hmm.
And he laughs and he goes, "No, it's not Yokozuna." I'm like, "Oh, okay." I said, "Then probably Bret Hart." He's like, "That's a good guess." He's like, "No, not Bret Hart." And he goes, "All right, you're done. You're done guessing or something." He's like, "You're just going to have to find out. Have a good time." But he stayed in character. That was the gimmick, right? Now,
didn't he have like a
yeah,
like just one little,
like the Superman curl?
Yeah.
The Superman
and a mullet.
Curl? Yeah, the mullet. So anyway, so this Unreal totally pulls back that curtain of everything. And I was just curious from, kind of an OG wrestler, if they dig it and if they don't dig it. I don't know. It's just fascinating how these guys work.
I think it's interesting to see behind the curtain of something that has your passion, so like if you're passionate about something, you get to learn things that it's like insider knowledge. That's super cool.
Yeah. And seeing these guys do it and how like when you see in any business, you see somebody that's good at what they do and they've got tricks to the trade and if they've mastered it. So like in the wrestling business, and I've been around this business from the radio standpoint and as a fan standpoint, I guess technically my whole life, but I've got to go, befriend some of these guys and hear the stories. And so I've got a little bit of a different insight and a little bit jaded. It jades you as a fan, for the most part.
Because that's the catch. Sometimes you see behind the curtain and you don't like what the wizard turned into on that guy.
Well, it's funny, Ben, you bring that up because that was the next point I was going to make, is that I understand why they're doing this show and they're pulling that curtain back because really your hand's forced because of the internet and they're already doing it. So you might as well control it. But does it alienate older wrestling fans to see something like this? Is that a tough pill to swallow from a guy in his 60s or 70s that grew up watching Baron von Raschke and, those types of guys and NWA and
include them
and Tommy Dreamer, or not Tommy Dreamer, but Ronnie Garvin and Jimmy Garvin and all those guys? Well, you can't.
Jerry Lawler.
Most of them are dead, so you can't.
But but you talk to their kids or, include that generation in telling the story of here's where we are, why we are here. Yeah, here's some of those stories that you didn't know about back then.
Okay, so you've got to watch the show to understand it. It's not what you think. It's not a documentary. Okay. So it's in real time. So they're filming in real time during events and taking you behind the scenes. So it's not like a documentary where they do a spotlight on a wrestler or something like that. They actually have the cameras at SummerSlam or WrestleMania and they're behind the scenes. They're talking about R-Truth getting fired in real time. Like they have the cameras running when he's getting fired.
Okay.
It's kind of like
wasn't there was a wrestling show like that. Vince McMahon, he was creating a character named Vomit or something. You have any idea? Yeah, so like they had some new guy and his gimmick was he could throw up on command.
Oh,
so like
Snitsky. I think that was Snitsky.
I don't know, but like there was some documentary they were doing on WWE or WWF at the time, whatever. And so it was showing behind the curtain a little bit.
Yeah, this is like totally pulling it back. But it's a whole nother show within a show. I mean, especially with the R-Truth stuff. I mean, R-Truth was and is kind of a staple in WWE, just in wrestling.
Never heard of this.
Ron Killings. Yeah, he's a black guy in his 50s now, but he's pure entertainment. I mean, the guy has got the it factor and he brings the comedy. I mean, he's a great wrestler. He looks great, but comedically, and you need that comedy guy, the guy that can pull it off. He's hilarious. I mean, makes you laugh. He helps make the show a show because you have to have peaks and valleys in any show, but you have a 2-hour wrestling show. You can have the serious side of things, Cody Rhodes and Roman Reigns, and they really are going to go at it. They're going to get the title, and Gunther versus CM Punk, and can he win one more time? And will he be able to take it down? You have that. I get that. That's the wrestling stuff. Then you have the storyline stuff. It's like, well, if you remember last week, he peeked in the dressing room and was able to see her with him, and that's probably going to cause some issues on this week's Raw. So you have that aspect of it. But then you need the goofy stuff. You need the guy that comes out there with an imaginary friend named Jimmy. And during his interview in the ring, he's like, "What, Jimmy? What are you talking about? Jimmy, you know what he's talking about?" And it's funny, right? It's funny.
This guy has an imaginary friend in the ring?
He did, yeah.
That is funny.
And then he was, he's in real life, he's a big John Cena fan. They're good friends, but he's a big fan of John Cena. So he started to become, like, during John Cena's last run, he became Ron Cena. His name's Ron Killings, Ron Cena, and he would dress up like John Cena and do his moves, but he's a black guy, right?
That's awesome.
Yeah. So it's fun. He's awesome. They ended up firing him, releasing him. And the internet world went crazy. The wrestling internet world went crazy to the point where, and to the credit of WWE, they said, okay, we've got to turn this into a storyline and bring him back because wrestling fans are mad. And when wrestling fans are mad because they hijacked the shows.
Yeah.
And that started in Chicago after CM Punk left the company. They started hijacking the shows. They're like, okay, this is live television. There's nothing, like, you can't drown us out. You can't mute us. People are going to know it's fake. So they'll chant CM Punk on live television when he's no longer employed with your company until you bring him back. And they did that for years until CM Punk eventually came back. So the next show that they did after he was fired, the entire crowd's chanting R-Truth. And they're like, oh man, we got a problem.
Here we go again.
But this Unreal on Netflix explained what happened, which is kind of cool. I mean, I'm sure that they're holding, some of the stuff tight, but they said, hey, look, we were in contract negotiations. Communications fell flat. We were so far apart on numbers. And how it works is company has got an offer. Talent comes back, counters. You go back and forth until you find something that works best for both. We were so far apart, nobody was talking. And that means they weren't talking to us. So we decided to let the contract lapse and move on. I mean, it was just business. And plus the guy's 50 some years old.
Yeah.
Is he worth having on the bill and paying that money? I mean, the fans say yes. I say,
and they got to pay X amount more in insurance and
all that stuff, they got handicapped spots and so they're talking about this. And then, they talked to Ron Killings about being fired, and you see this athlete, this guy not in character, talking about how he was just heartbroken. This is his life. This is his family. This is how he provides for his family. This is all he knows. And to get that taken away from you. And he's like, I didn't even know until it hit the internet, So he's like, I was a mess. And he's like, I got like 1,000 text messages within an hour. He goes, people were just reaching out to me left and right. Do you want to see that if you're a fan of anything, not just wrestling, but do you, or especially wrestling, because it's a phony baloney, whatever, however you want to call it, type of thing where if they're characters. Do you want to
yes, absolutely. You want to see the real stuff. That's why I used to watch NWA, because it was kind of real.
Yeah, it was grainy. it was
grainy, but like they'd actually get mad at each other and start fighting.
See, I disagree. I don't think I want it. Not that it's not a good show, but I'll tell you the reason why. Is when you take the mystique, the mystery out of something, the allure, the sexiness of it disappears as well. It tarnishes. And I'll give you an example of that. The internet has ruined a lot of things, in my opinion. Hollywood, celebrities, musicians, rock stars. You have a picture of who they are and what they are. And you know them by what they do, their job. They have a great song. They have a great band. You know them as that. And that's it. And that's all you need to know. And that's your love and your passion and your loyalty. You have Tom Cruise, Risky Business, the first Top Gun. That's what you know him as. Arnold Schwarzenegger, Sly Stallone, you know him as action movie heroes from the 80s.
Yeah.
Right? That's all you, and Chewbacca for some reason. So that's all you know him as. But now when you pull the curtain back and you start learning how they think, what they feel, their opinions, the stuff that they go through, the humanizing part of them, the bad stuff, the crappy voicemails that they leave or text messages that they send, you are no longer a fan or as much of a fan because now they're on the same level as you. It's easier to be a fan of someone if they're at a status higher than you, right? They're doing something that you're not doing or can't do or will never do. That's when, I don't say idolize, but
so you don't want to learn about Brad Pitt buying Rolaids or toilet paper.
No, not at all. I want to know Brad Pitt is making a new movie, and that's it. that's all I want to know. I like Brad Pitt as an actor. I hope
it's just a different kind of investment, you know. Some people they want to know every detail. They feel like it makes it more intimate. Now I really know this person. I can support them as a friend, as a loved one. Like now I have a connection to this person because I knew more.
Yeah, but it kills the allure. I mean, I honestly think, well, I think for all. I mean, I think that's what's killed Hollywood. You look at old Hollywood and you look at those guys, they were and how they were treated and how we looked at them. And nobody had a problem with them being the elite or them walking the red carpet and, you know, that it was a thing, right? It was something that and if you wanted to be in that business, be in that business, be that person. Don't hate on it because you're not there. It's just how that business is. But now we all feel like we know each other. We know everything. And also think about this, when fans become, what's the word I'm looking for? Like inundated with somebody. I mean, they just are like, they go crazy. You look at the guy that shot Reagan, you know, the Jodie Foster stuff, Hinckley. And he said Jodie Foster made him shoot Reagan and stuff like that because he was such a fan. When you now know more stuff about the person that you're a fan of, you more easily can feel like you have a relationship with them. Makes you crazy. That can be a bad thing. I mean,
absolutely can. In
the 80s and the 90s, that was a bad thing. Today we look at it as a marketing tool. So it's a little nutty. There's only so much. Like, I've always been told in my business, it's like, oh, you want to humanize yourself and you want to say as much as you want to say. So I've always been this open book and shared everything with my audience. Everything. There's not one thing that I think I've not told my audience about me, you know. And then they come back and they tell you, well, you talk too much about yourself. Well, you told me to share my life and my stories. Well, there's a way to do it. Have you ever done it? Well, I've never been on the air and done it, but I know because of reports that I read how to do it. Oh, okay. Well, you want to share that with me? Well, you'll figure it out, but I'll let you know when you get it. None of this is making any sense right now, you know, but I've been in situations where I've had stalkers because I've shared too much, you know, and they know too much about
his name.
I forget. It was a him though.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Oh, it was scary, dude. It was, I had to have a cop follow me around all the time. I mean, it was weird, real weird, you know, and I've had some girl stalkers too, but the last one, the guy in Atlanta, it was funny because he first approached me when I was leaving the Atlanta 250, the tennis tournament that I'd host. And it was a Wednesday night.
Oh, yes. I remember this story.
Yeah. It was a Wednesday night. And I remember it was a Wednesday night because Wednesday nights were always the late nights. And Thursdays, I was just dead to the world on the air. It was the longest week of my life because I'm still getting up at 3:30 in the morning to go do a morning show. And now I'm Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday into this tournament, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, getting up at 3:30. And it was like midnight. And I'm not going to be home and in bed until 1. So I'm getting 2.5 hours. It was long. So I get to my car and those days of the tournament, at Atlantic Station, there was this like dirt parking lot that we would park in, but it was fenced off that had quote unquote security. So I'm walking to my truck. I get in my truck. I had a protein bar. I was hungry, starving. And I did not have my gun out. Like it was one of the only times that I had it in its safe. I forget why. I didn't take it out. And I never rolled down my passenger window for nothing, like unless there's a passenger there. But the protein bar that I had been in my car. So it broke when I took the paper off and it dropped on my floor. And so it was just like a little bit. So I rolled down the window to throw it out. And when I did that, this dude was right there in the window. This guy, decent sized guy with a floppy hat, like a Golden Pond floppy fishing hat.
Like a bucket hat?
Like a bucket hat. And he goes, "You Jason Bailey?" I said, "I'm thinking he's a fan." Right. And that's the only thing I'm thinking of. And I'm like, "Who's asking? What can I do for you? What's up?" And I'm trying to keep it upbeat. And he goes, "You Jason Bailey?" I said, "What can I do for you, man?" He goes, "Well, if you're Jason Bailey, and I think you are, you owe me money." I'm like, "What?" So I put it in drive and I had my foot on the brake and I was just ready to jet off. But again, I don't know if he's a fan. And so I'm handling it kind of light. And he's like, "You owe me money. You owe me money." And he's not screaming, but he just kept repeating, "You owe me money. You know why, and you never delivered." And this and that. I said, "Dude, look, I have no idea what you're talking about." I said, "But I tell you what, this all can be figured out and fixed. I got to get home because I got to go do a radio show in a couple hours." I said, "Let's meet up. You're going to be here tomorrow. We can meet up and have a nice long conversation." So I did that. I called the head of the tournament, security, whatever. Didn't see him the rest of the tournament. Then he starts showing up at places that I'm at. And he would show up at events and things like that. He'd show up at work. And so the guy that I was working with at the time, I think he got jealous that he wasn't stalking him. So the dude showed up at one of his events that he was hosting, like once. And I remember him coming back, and we never talked about it on the air because I didn't want to cater to this guy. But right. I remember he's like, "Oh man, I got me a stalker." And I'm like, I was like, I'm not going to have an argument with this dude about who he's stalking. I mean, that's the dumbest thing ever. I was like, but how much of a narcissist are you that you're so jealous that you have to have my stalker? Like that was it was one of the weirdest things I've ever seen in a grown man. Oddest things I've ever seen in a grown man. So weird.
So was he a stalker? Did you actually owe the man money?
No, supposedly I owed him money because of a bet that I made with him on a UFC pay-per-view. I'd never known this guy, never met this guy, knew nothing about this guy.
How much was the payoff?
No idea. Went to try to get a restraining order. By the way, not easy to do, not easy to accomplish. So I understand ladies that try to go and get those TPAs or whatever they're called, temporary, so whatever they're called.
Yeah, something.
Yeah. Not easy to do. He just disappeared after a while. Just disappeared. I had a cop buddy of mine have a conversation with him one day when he showed up somewhere. He's like, "Look, keep doing it. I'm going to, so he just left. I'm assuming he had the wrong Jason Bailey. I have no idea. I'll go to my grave not knowing what happened.
But it seems like that you would have made a bet with somebody over UFC.
No, I would never bet UFC. I know nothing about MMA. Unless I'm drunk and just wanting to blow money, I have no idea how to bet UFC. Never. But going back to my point, talking about this Unreal thing on Netflix, I think somewhere in there with that guy, or there was a girl involved too. They knew a lot about me because I was an open book. So my point of old Hollywood, pre-internet, not pulling back the curtain and breaking the fourth wall. There's something to be said about portraying yourself as a character or whatever your status is versus being on the same level as your fan and them feeling like they can just come over. You know what I mean? There's got to be barriers. So I'm not saying you're better than anybody, but there has to be like, "Hey, I do this for a living. This is gimmick. This is for entertainment purposes. It's not all real." I've been out numerous times with people that are just kind of casual fans over the years. It's like Dance Monkey. Like, why aren't you talking?
Yeah. Poke.
Even when I go to the poker room and I'm quiet at the table, I don't say a word. I just don't talk. People are like, "You did radio? You do radio? You talk for 11 hours? You don't even speak." I don't want to speak. Like, you become jaded after a while. Unless there's a microphone in front of me and you turn the switch on, I have no interest of speaking. I'm sure musicians, I'm sure Youngblood just doesn't randomly set up a sound stage in his living room when the pizza guy comes over, it's like, oh, you've got to listen to this song, mate. On and on and on. Just don't do
I
it.
could see him doing that every once in a while, though.
Every once in a while, possibly.
Yeah. So. I got to tell you, I get that because same thing, I still, hey, you sing for us. Sing us a song. I'm like, dude, I get paid for that. I'm chilling.
Sing us a song. You're the piano man. Sing us a song for free.
The dancing chicken needs a night off, kids.
All right. So DDP will probably be on next week. But watch his Change or Die on Tubi. Because if you don't and he comes on and he talks about it, it's going to be an issue if you don't know what he's doing. So you got to do that. JasonBailey.com. Subscribe to the BS. Get all the episodes, please. If you don't do it, then we just got to shut this baby down. Just shut it down. No more shows. If you could do that. If you're a business and want to be a part of some already great sponsors, please reach out to me. There's a section there on jasonbailey.com. Get in on the newsletters. That's a quick and easy, fill out a couple things and then you'll get the newsletters on Friday. I am going to add a giveaway. I've got to add the giveaways. So I'm going to do that. I just got to figure out how to do it. So Ben, we're going to add giveaways.
Okay.
We're going to do mag butter. We're going to do
awesome.
Yeah. So we're going to do some ozone infused magnesium butter from a live ozone therapy spa. And I'll just ship it out, but got to figure out how to give it away on the newsletter. Obviously you have to be a subscriber of the newsletter. So when you open it, how do you suggest we do that? You open it and then you just want to send me an email? Is there like a form we can do? What do you want to do? How do you want to do it?
Oh, we'll have to think this through. It's, something involving feet.
Well, I mean, literally, they don't have to jump through hoops. They can just give me their information, but I don't know how to get it.
Could do it that way.
Yeah.
Respond to the email. Literally just
reply. You can just reply to it and it'll come right back to me. Okay. Yeah. Or we could do one at the form because then you can put in the title of the subject line and I'll know that's a good idea.
And you just submit.
Just hit submit. Yeah. That's a good idea. I like that.
I'm glad I didn't come up with it. There you go.
No, you're brilliant. Thank you so much.
I walk you there.
Like, share, follow on all social media, please. Like, share, follow on all social media, and share the love if you don't mind. All right, Benjamin, you got anything before we get out?
Don't corner something meaner than you.
Ooh, that's good. Like a rattlesnake.
It'll kick your ass.
Oh, I got a joke for you. Oh, I told you the joke. I'll tell it again.
Oh, yeah.
Pretend like you've never heard it. Okay.
Okay.
What kind of shoes do pedophiles wear? What kind of shoes do pedophiles wear?
I don't know, Bailey. What kind of shoes do pedophiles wear?
White Vans.
Oh! Hell yeah. How about that?
All right, have yourself a great, safe rest of your day. You're going to be doing some drinking. I understand. I get it. If you had too much, please don't get behind the wheel of a car lost. Woo, too many friends like that. I don't want to see that happen to you. Sure, the shit don't be posted on social media or you will lose a lot of friends like that. You know what I'm talking about. All right, enjoy the episodes this week. Thank you. Think. Talk to you soon.
Hey, good looking. It's the Bailey Show podcast. JasonBailey.com. It's a website.
Okay, this episode's over. Goodbye. 3 different shows, 5 days a week, 1 feed, details, and to subscribe, jasonbailey.com.